Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon.
Good morning, Brijesh.
Good afternoon, Nagesh. Good morning, Brijesh.
Hey, good afternoon, Nagesh. Good afternoon, everybody. Good morning, in fact, from my side.
Yes, it's morning. It's morning for Brijesh there. So you will see a few familiar names, few new names. Nimesh had joined.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure I'm going to find a lot of names that I know.
Yeah, I know that. So rest of the guys, can you please go and post in the group that we have started, so let others also join.
Yeah, sure, Nagesh.
So, Nagesh, how is it going in India? How are things?
But it's not, it's not a happy feeling, to be honest. And things are not moving as far as the COVID situation. It's not going in right direction. But there is a break, a big news from my side, personal level. I got a good project now. I'm in a very good project. The project kickstart on Friday, so it'll be exciting time ahead. Most probably, I'll move into a new role. So that's another good news. So I'll keep you posted.
Congratulations on that one.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, the situation with the virus, I mean, all over the world, it's almost the same story. I mean, here in the Netherlands, there was no lockdown as such. I mean, it's only a partial lockdown. They removed it last Monday. They said, okay, things can get back to normal. Of course, they have put mechanism of getting back step by step. So the first age group to return to normal routine is 0 to 12 years, where all the children will be going back to their daycares and school because they are the least impacted group, and they are going at 50% capacity right now. That is, schools are normally open for 4 days in a week here, Wednesday being. So people attend only 2 days. That is, one group goes on Mondays and Thursdays. The other group goes on Tuesdays and Fridays. So that's how they are doing it for the schools. For other age groups, that is 12 years to 18 years, it will reopen slowly. Now they are all in online mode. The schools and all are happening in online mode. For sporting activities, they're allowed to go and play sport which does not have contact. So, for example, football. But football also has physical contact at times, but they are like under supervision, so they are not going to. As far as other businesses are concerned, I mean, shopping malls and all were anyways closed. They are still closed. Supermarkets were open. They are still open. Other places where you had physical contact, for example, salons where you could get a haircut or things like that. They're slowly getting back to their routine with precautions, of course. Medical businesses such as physiotherapy is still closed, and people like me with back injuries are still suffering because of that. But then they will get back to normal soon. So they have to find a way. But slowly we'll get there.
Yeah, slowly.
It's not a happy feeling, like you said, but then life has to continue. So.
Okay, chalo. Let's start. We have 15 people, and a few more people are joining. Okay. So welcome, guys. Welcome to this new initiative, or the known initiative of Sunday meetups. So today we have a special guest, Brijesh Deb from Netherlands, and he and me was in contact from last few days, and we were discussing many things about testing specifically. We only refer testing. We don't differentiate in testing anything. So, and we know each other from past maybe 2-3 years now through one of the community named Agile Testing Alliance.
More than that now.
Yeah, more than that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So welcome. So this is an open forum. and the idea was I kept it surprise, and where Brijesh actually encouraged me to have that kind of session. I was against it initially, and I was saying that so discussion was mock interview. So I'm not in favor of mock interviews, but Brijesh said that no, we should have it. You will realize what difference it makes. So welcome Brijesh to Sunday Meetup, and over to you now.
All right. Thank you, Nagesh, for that little introduction. So I have known Nagesh for quite some time now. Nagesh said 2-3 years. Yeah, 2-3 years we have worked closely with another community, and we're still doing that. But I have known Nagesh for a longer time. I have been following all the good work that he's been doing with the testing community for quite some time, and I really appreciate the way he does it, with the passion and dedication he does it. And I'm happy to see that there are so many people who are inspired and who are a part of this Sunday Meetup. It is not an easy thing to get into such technical discussions on Sundays as well, but I really appreciate this which you guys are doing it. That's fantastic. So what I was telling Nagesh is that a lot of us we look for jobs, we apply for jobs, and then interviews happen, and we don't seem to get it right. I mean, either some of us are taking interviews, that time also we don't get it right. Some of us are giving interviews, we don't get it right, and it is a good idea to discuss as to how we can probably try and give an interview and create a situation where we talk about certain aspects of interview, certain things that we know, and certain things that we don't know we will discover during the course of this. So I thought maybe Nagesh and I could do a sort of a mock interview, give a random situation related to testing, of course, and see how the reaction goes, and then get feedback from all of you guys as to what should have happened and what should not have happened, and how things were tackled, and then have a general consensus. And then then accordingly you guys can also start preparing, and this just does not apply to job interviews, but to any interviews that you are in, any discussions. So basically, let's begin by understanding the term that the word is interview. Okay, so it is about expressing your views in front of the other person. So it is either a group talking to each other or one person talking to another. There is a difference between an interview and an interrogation. Okay, so if it is just a question and answer, like somebody is asking a question, you're giving an answer, it is an interrogation. And normally police does it with criminals. Okay, so we don't want to get into that mode. Okay, we want to get it into an interview mode where people are sharing their view, people are discussing things, and you're getting something fruitful out of it. Maybe somebody gets a job out of it, or somebody gets some knowledge out of it, some information out of it, or you are interviewing somebody to scale up your business, and so on and so forth. So everybody has a different goal. So keeping the goal in mind, we have to focus on the discussion. So Nagesh, can we try something? Maybe a short one for maybe 10-15 minutes, and then go to everybody else.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Let me.
Yeah. So one more quick interruption. Shashikant also on the group, on the call. So Shashikant is also a veteran, and he can also contribute to this thing. So welcome, Shashikant.
Yeah, thanks Nagesh, and I'm really sorry, since last 4-5 session I'm not able to connect every time.
Sir. Don't say sorry.
Okay,
we'll
but
start
this time actually I tried. I know that a good experience having the Brijesh. Thanks Brijesh for joining this call today, and I hope the session will be very interactive this today as well, the way it is every time. Okay, so yeah, thanks Nagesh, and thanks Brijesh for having this.
Yeah, so let's start. So
okay, so I will give a hypothetical situation. So basically, the situation is that I am the you can call me whatever, technical manager or senior management in one of the retail businesses here in Europe, and we are looking for somebody to help us with our testing, somebody who can help us build a strategy, put in testing in the proper place, have some automation and things like that. So I roll out a JD, and the JD talks about, it says that XYZ company is looking for a test expert with more than 12 years of experience, and we are looking for somebody who can help us build around test strategies, put the plan in place, help us with testing at all levels, and also help us with some kind of automation down the line. And for that, Nagesh applied, and Nagesh's CV got shortlisted, and he lands up in an interview with me. So let's see how that goes. Are you ready, Nagesh?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Nervous. So actually, like real interview, I'm nervous because.
It's being nervous is always good, because it shows that you are ready to face the challenge.
Yes.
If you're not nervous, it is like you don't know whether you are ready to face the challenge or not. So being nervous is natural. So it's okay. Even I'm nervous. Okay. All right. So Nagesh. Let me begin, Nagesh. Nagesh, thank you for joining us. I am managing a team here at the Co-op supermarkets chain, and we have a situation. We are working on we have more than 300 retail stores all over Europe. We also have an online store, and we are working on an application which will allow us to manage our logistics. For example, orders that are placed when they come in, and how they come in, and how they are tracked and managed. It will also manage disposal of expired goods, especially from the FMCG products, which is more or less to do with food, because food items such as milk, eggs, bread, etc. tend to expire. Vegetables tend to expire, and you need to dispose them from time to time. So the system will also take care of that. And with that regard, we are looking forward to somebody helping us with testing that application that we are in the process of building, and help us with that. So that is the background. So this is a formal background setting. Now I'll begin the real interview. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's start. Hi, Nagesh.
Hi, Brijesh.
Hey, Nagesh. My name is Brijesh Deb, and I'm the senior manager here at Co-op Supermarkets. And I have been working in this company for more than 20 years now, and have seen it go up from one retail store to 300 retail stores in the market. We also have an online store. There is a lot of work going on, and especially with the current situation, we see a lot of things being routed online way, but our offline stores are also open, and there are people coming in from time to time. We are working on an inventory management system, and we are looking for somebody to help us with testing. So that was a little introduction of mine. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, Brijesh. Thank you for the introduction. I saw the website of your store and your organization, and it's really comprehensive. Thanks for the opportunity for this interview. And yes, indeed, when you said that inventory management, I do have experience in inventory management, and I would like to showcase my experience during the this project and overall process of this your organization.
Okay, great. Okay, so you said you have experience with inventory management. So what kind of a test strategy do you have in place for such a system?
So we had an inventory management system where we used to we have to make sure that first thing, the stock tally, the application which has a stock tally is correct. So we need to make sure whether, so the life cycle goes like this: the opening stock, then the purchase, and the purchase return, and after that we sell, and sales return will be there. There will be some damaged goods also. So we have to test throughout the life cycle. So testing throughout the life cycle is the first strategy. Second thing, matching or tallying all this thing is important. So that is another test strategy to validate all the data with the numbers. And the third part, major part, is billing. If the billing goes correct, billing and reporting. So if billing is correct and the reporting is correct, then we can have the entire data matching. So that's the strategy. First, you make sure that all the functionality is working correctly, then the data is correct, and the billing and billing and reporting as well as.
Okay, that is quite good. And so, what in terms of challenges did you have in trying to put this strategy across?
So major challenge was domain experience. Unless you don't know how the retail stores work, you may not be able to understand how things go. So let me tell you. So being from a commerce background, it was easy for me to understand the inventory life cycle. Whereas people who came from engineering or from different backgrounds like management, it was difficult for them until unless they reach there inside the retail store and they find it difficult how these things works. What is they were like, most of the questions were coming up: what is purchase return? They were not able to understand what is a purchase return.
Okay, and so how do you propose to get domain experience, Nagesh?
Yeah, so the basic idea was to have a business user from the client side in our premises, that is in our development team, that is periodical. So 1 week the person or representative will be with us, and we will have set of questions framed for them, and the questions Q&A will go into brainstorming mode. And the second way of people, my team members will go and visit the store, and they will see actually, they will see how these people work. Like people means, first thing, a sales representative on a retail store, then admin team who take care of all the purchase, inventory, billing, reporting, and the go down stock, where how they maintain the inventory, everything. So this is how they will visit, and periodically this is being rotated throughout the team. So all the team members once in a month will get opportunity to go into this retail store and meet different people.
Okay. Apart from that, did you have any other technical limitations blocking you?
Not specifically with me, but my team. My team was not aware of the retail softwares, the retail experience, and the tools that we were using. So we have to conduct the training sessions for them, and we did that.
Okay, that is good. Okay, so I'm also looking at trying to automate as many tests as possible. In fact, my wish is to have 100% automation in place. Will you be able to help me with that?
100% automation, Brijesh. That is pretty challenging.
And why do you say that?
Because in my experience, I haven't reached 100% yet.
But my senior management is looking at 100% automation of testing, and they think it's feasible. So how do I convince them?
Okay. So what is the definition of feasible?
They think that it is you can automate all your testing so that life becomes easy for everybody. So what do I go and tell them? That that the testing expert that we are looking to hire says 100% automation cannot be done. Is that what I tell them?
Not like this, the way we're discussing, but we need to identify the pain areas first. The major thing is what what are the different areas that we are trying to achieve or automate. The first thing is there are different type of automation. So my point is when you are saying retail, that means there will be APIs. So API automation strategy is different than what we do it on GUI. So have your organization or have this organization taken all these things in consideration?
Yeah, we currently have a small set of applications that we are using to manage our processes, and the testing for all of that is automated. So that's why we were looking at 100% automation even for the application that we are trying to build. This application will be available to the various store managers. They will also be available to the main manager who is looking after all the inventory, that is, of goods going in and out of the store. Also, there will be a version that will be available for the customers. Okay, we will also have a version that will be available to the vendors. So there are multiple parties available, and if you try and test everything without using any tools, then it is going to be a nightmare. So that is why the idea that the senior management has is that they want to automate everything. So
yeah, that sounds a plan. That sounds a plan. But based on my experience, it looks a little bit very difficult for me. Not impossible. So my request is how okay, let me phrase a different question. Which are the different tools that your team are using right now?
Well, we are using tools such as Selenium. We are using tools such as Test Project. We are using tools such as we have a lot of in-house tools as well. So this is what we use currently.
Okay, so you mean to say that you have in-house tools. Now, who is maintaining all these tools?
Our engineers are.
Okay, so now my question on this is, with the help of Selenium and all these tools, how much percentage of automation you have achieved till today?
I wouldn't know that. That would be somebody in the testing team would be able to say that. But as far as the codes that I see that they have a coverage of 100%.
Okay. Can I have opportunity to talk to one of the test team members?
Sure, if you're selected, definitely.
Okay, because I would like to discuss with them and see what are the challenge and what's stopping them to reach 100%.
Okay. Okay, good. Let's call this off here, and then let's look for some feedback points. Thank you, Nagesh,
Thank you,
for
sir.
very good response. Very warm response, I must say. So let's talk to the audience and see what feedback they have got on everything, right from the way I described the job till Nagesh's last response. What feedback do we have? What happened there? Do you think Nagesh should be selected or he'll not be selected?
I'm agree with the thing that you said for the first time that there is a lot difference between interrogation and interview. So I got to know that there is a difference between interrogation and interview, because you threw a lot of bunch of questions to Nagesh to answer, and the response got from the Nagesh, it was a nice and practical one. And the same thing when thrown by Nagesh to you, and it was nice handled by you too. So according, if I'm say that it could be a nice one. Like I'm happy with the thing that happening right now. So I could say that yeah, he should be.
Okay. Anybody else? Thank you, Vijay, for that one.
Hi, Brijesh. So, if before I have to select, maybe probably I will ask more in depth about the current experience he has in handling such a situations and what set of tools he has worked on and how it can combine with the in-house tool to get the aim achieved, which is set for this particular job position. So
Okay,
that will be one of the questions.
excellent thought, Nimesh. Why do you think the discussion did not go in that direction?
Maybe because he was very curious enough to understand what is the process in place at your organization, and he wanted to dwell into those rather than coming up with whatever work he has done in the past and integrating it with yours. So maybe that thought process did not follow.
Okay, so that's very good input. Okay, any other point?
You might have kept someone who not technical background, like not technical background, but the person actually who is actually looking for the automation things currently.
Uh-huh.
So that would have been help, to Nagesh understand what actually the requirement.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Apart from that, I'm really very curious. Is it Nagesh also has asked lot of questions. I'm really not sure at the interviewer actually expect those many things and really accept those many questions, uh, because sometimes it's like it's just one way. The interviewer will ask the question, and the person who has to just answer it. Okay, so
That
it's very hardly.
is a very good point, Shashikant. That is a very good point. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Any,
it is
We
basically
hardly see
dependent
this
on.
kind of interrogation. Yeah, yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I'm
we hardly see interviewers so open up and they're open to certain questions from the interviewee. So
Mhm.
that is really nice to know that certain interviews will exist. That is the best part.
Okay. Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, one more thing from my side is there was an opportunity to showcase Nagesh's experience when you asked him to introduce himself.
Mhm.
He was pretty much abstract in terms of communicating that. So more on his experiences, demonstrating his skill set would have set more context for the interviewer and could have asked more questions around that. On
Yeah.
the other side, Nagesh was also open enough to share his view that 100% may not work, and he was open enough to ask questions. That was appreciable for sure. On the
Yeah.
whole, the conversation was not more on his experience versus what is expected out of him. On the other side, he wants to check whether it is feasible or not, possible or not, rather than how he can automate via his experience that he's got doing,
So,
taking care of the front end, back end flow and stuff like that.
yeah. So, do you think that would have been a better choice for Nagesh to talk about feasibility up front rather than talking about or asking what
Yeah.
can be done?
No, the question can be clarified. It's okay to ask questions, but directly jumping into the conclusion that it is very difficult, it may not be possible, that
Good
level of
point.
conversation could have been avoided. Rather, he can showcase, yes, that we've done 60% code coverage, we've done continuous integration. Yes, I've used Selenium, and we were able to cover smoke testing 100%, whereas the regression checks we were not able to do to a greater extent. And these are the challenges I faced. So I
Yeah.
anticipate similar issues that we can overcome together based on the test strategy that is followed in the organization and the tools and the process and other skill sets that people have. We can certainly work together. So that it could have been approached that way possibly.
Okay.
okay.
All right.
Yeah, just Brijesh, just a minute, I will stop you. So Asit Pal is also on the call. In the chat, he said that 100% automation is possible if organization adopts agile methodology using Scrum framework incrementally.
Okay. We'll get to that. Okay. We'll get to the technical aspects of it a little later. Nagesh, you have any feedback? How do you think it went?
Yeah, so uh, to be very honest, very honest, I was very nervous in the start because I was not, and guys, we never talked about this thing, the way the questions we are going to ask, nothing. Brijesh and we had just a WhatsApp chat between, and we suggested. So thing is, yes. So the thing is, it wasn't an interrogation, first thing. So it would have been, it was fully dependent, depend on Brijesh. He could have turned it completely into an interrogation, but it didn't. Right? So because I kept asking the questions. Okay. Another thing is, yes, I didn't introduce. I agree with Ravi Shankar that I didn't introduce myself. I didn't put my emphasis on my experience much. His questions are futuristics. So he wanted to say that what he want to achieve, what he have achieved, he concluded in small part. Even similarly, I concluded in small part. So now the thing is, my experience was he gave me enough space to ask the questions, and he accepted all the questions. Okay, and he was careful enough not to give me enough information, like, or something. The specific question I asked was like, can I have a time or to talk to one of your test team members? So then he said that it will only be happen after you join. So such things, you as an interviewer, he managed very well, and he gave me enough space to ask the questions, and he answered accordingly. So that's my feedback, that the space was there, and I was happy with the conversation.
Okay, so here's what I have to say, and I'll keep it brief. I can see a countdown timer running, so I'll try to keep it brief. So basically, yeah, I explained up front that it should not be an interrogation. It has to be an interview. And you people are right that not everybody does it this way. Not everybody normally comes up front like this. And it is a cultural aspect. So here in Europe, it is always like this, always very open. It is from both sides. You are expected to ask a lot of questions to the interviewer as well. Okay. Whereas if you go to India, it is more of question and answer mode, and that is something that is changing now with cultures coming together. You see a lot of people allowing room for asking questions in between the interview. Now you have to judge the comfort level up front, and you can do so by picking the hooks up. So as the interviewer is trying to explain the situation as to why you have been hired or not, why that position has been opened or not, or if you have any questions. I mean, I said, look at the job description. If you see something missing, use that as a hook to initiate a conversation. Always look for opportunities to open up conversations. Okay, get it in a conversational mode rather than in a question and answer mode. And more people, more often than not, are happy to answer questions. Okay, during the course of interview as well. A lot of people like to keep it in a Q&A mode, thinking that, okay, I know more, so I should be the one who should be asking questions, and the person attending the interview should be answering. But it is not often the case. We don't try. We hold up our questions till the very end. And in the end also, if somebody says, okay, do you have any questions for me? There's 1-2 random questions that come. Okay, don't hesitate. If you have a question, you can always ask, but look for hooks in the conversation that is happening. Look for opportunities. The interviewer will give you opportunities to ask questions. Okay, I was giving hooks. Okay, if you notice the pattern, initially it was me asking questions and Nagesh answering, and then when he started asking questions, then it went into a conversation mode. It should get into a conversation mode right from the beginning. So when you describe, or when I describe the situation, okay, there were enough hooks for Nagesh to catch and initiate conversations. So when he was explaining his experience, he could have very well aligned it with what I said, and then from there, follow it up with a question. So if I ask Nagesh, do you think 100% automation, okay, I want to have 100% automation, what is your strategy for that? So immediately the question for me should have been, okay, so in the projects that we have in place, have we able to achieve 100% automation or not? If yes, what does it mean? So, simple questions like, okay, what is the team composition? Okay, how many testers are there? Okay, who else will I be working with? These are the kind of questions that you get into, and that will open up space for you to discuss, for you to understand what the semantics of the organization is, what they are looking for. Okay, and when you talk about strategies, you cannot have a strategy just as a tester. For a strategy, you will need to talk to a lot of people. So you need to identify who those people are. And that is why it becomes important that you engage in a dialogue, in a discussion. And especially with regards to testing, of course, 100% automation is not possible. Everybody knows it. Okay. And so especially with testing, you need to know the levels at which you are testing, the kind of testing that you're looking at. Okay. Are you looking specifically for some UI testing to be automated, or are you looking for, if you say 100% testing has been automated, okay, is it at the UI level you have achieved 100%, or have you gone beneath that? Are you looking at API testing as well? Are you testing your databases? I mean, what are the things that you are doing? Okay, so that is something that has to come out, and Nagesh, of course, did a pretty good job. Okay, but then you are always open to ask questions. Never hesitate in asking questions to the interviewer during the course of interview. It's fine. It's okay. It's an interview. Okay, always remember that. But you have to make sure that you are not, getting into a mode where you are trying to interrogate the interviewer. Okay, it has happened to me where I left hooks and the candidate just bombarded me with a question. Okay, so you have to be careful that you don't do that. Okay, and obviously, as an interviewer, a lot of you will be taking interviews. Keep it in mind that we have to respect each other's skill level. So the person who has come for an interview, his skill level has to be respected. So that is where you have to be very cool about things, and play your cards very carefully. Open up a conversation with that person. Allow that person to speak up. Okay, allow that person to open up. Only then you will be able to see the good side of that person. Similarly, as a candidate, you do the same thing. You will be able to find a lot of information about the project. So before you get into an organization, if you want to know more about that organization, the interview is the best place for you to do that. You may read stuff on their website, you may have read the job description, blah, blah, but clarity of the job that you are having or you're going to do will come from an interview. So take that as an opportunity. So this is my message for you guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So we have let's start the second part with some different topic, and then we'll move back to our original topic. So because I want all of you to, I want to give opportunity to all of you to talk in this call, not just me or Brijesh or someone else talking. So how many of you were aware that Quality Jobs has run a automation challenge, 11 days automation challenge? How many of you are aware of this thing? Okay, so just give you an overview. So we did a 11 days automation challenge. We connected with almost 60 people, and we gave them a small web application, asking them to automate whichever way they want, whichever tools they want to use. They have to use GitHub for code repository and Jenkins for CI/CD pipeline, and it was with full freedom. So they were. I was one of the mentor, including Rakesh Kondereddy, and we successfully achieved that. 11 days completed. So I would like to Savita to give her feedback on that 11 days experience. Over to you, Savita. She is not prepared, but let her give.
Yeah. Yeah. So overall experience was really good to communicate with the different or strange teammates whom we haven't seen. And it's like it's a time bonded thing. So starting from the just looking at the new web application, just finding out the test cases, discussing with the team, and just discussing the issues when people are not in front of you. So it was a challenging and very interesting also. So it was a good learning experience. We had a lot of scenarios which we never think about, but other persons come up with. And also we had issues like we never seen such a issues or hurdle up, but other people are facing, so we jump into get them resolved. So it's like a team communication was really good. though we are not in front of each other or not being in that much in touch, except that 1 hour call. So, and again, learning things from the teammate was a really nice thing in this lockdown period, and just getting enhancement of your skills, which in the normal days you don't get much time to focus on. So after the working on spending 1 hour every day was tired up also, but it was a nice thing to have a or nice or good challenge to take up with. So it was a really nice experience for me. Let's like for last 3 months I didn't get any chance to take a look into automation due to the office work, but in this 11 days I was totally spending my time every day. So it was like a come back to my home place. So it was a nice experience overall. And thank you so much, Nagesh, for this experience, this opportunity.
Yeah. So thanks, Savita, and well done actually. So I request all of you guys go to Savita's LinkedIn profile, see her latest post. She has provided a solution to pretty challenging situation which she faced during her automation. One of the test case what we were, because for a individual person, if he has to test it on UI, it's not a difficult testing. He or she can do it by simple mouse clicking, but when you have to automate that, you have to use automation tool. It's pretty challenging. So she has provided the situation, the challenge, and the solution over there. So please go ahead. Just 1 minute. We will take 1 more minute. I would like Suyog Patel to share his experience. He was one of the team leads. So he managed a team of like maybe 11 testers, and he guided them. So over to Suyog.
Yeah, thank you, Nagesh. Hi all, my name is Suyog. So yes, when Nagesh proposed about this 11-day challenge on the automation, I was very happy that I'll have fresh-minded people who are a functional tester or in brackets manual tester and wish to learn automation. So when you learn something, it is not challenging for you, it is challenging for the one who is helping you out, because there are different approach or attitude by which you are thinking. So I had this team of 10 to 12 people who were there with me and who used to ask technical questions. So I also learned pretty new things. For example, when you mix JUnit and TestNG together and try to run them, so what kind of problems you get. So there are technical problems as well as I could actually, I have lead a team long time back, but leading this team was again new for me. There were a couple of people who came up with these test cases. They had a very different sight of looking at it. So yes, overall it was a nice 11-day package, and I would suggest that doing such exercise actually help you out, not in terms of technical, but as well as understanding how different sort of people are there, how to think, and so that's all I want to share.
Thank you very much, Suyog. All the best, both of you, Suyog and Savita. Now let's move back to our interview techniques. And Brijesh, welcome back.
I think Ketan wanted to say something.
Ketan, would you like to share something?
I was in private chat with Savita actually. I just asked for her LinkedIn post. I got it.
Thank you.
I just lowered my hand.
Okay, good. Parag also raised his hand at one point of time. Parag Malpani, would you like to have some question on that? Okay, so let's move back to our original discussion about interviews, interview techniques, and all that. So this will be my first and last question because I want others to join. There was an interesting situation 2 years ago. I was taking an interview. We shared a JD saying that we are looking for a person who has testing experience. I'll specify a word which we just don't like: manual testing and automation testing. So we specified in our JD that we are looking for manual tester and automation. And I was I was the person who is interviewing. So my interview technique is always like that. When I start an interview, I ask about the person. I mainly doesn't want what is his or her experience in his introduction. I want to know about him, the personal things. So that was my first question. He answered very well, and then I gave the agenda of the interview. I tell that I am going to ask you questions on testing, automation testing, and then the management questions. When I started asking manual testing question, the person started getting angry because he was not working in manual testing for a long time. And at one point of time, he shouted and said that if you keep asking manual testing question, I am not going to continue this interview. And he disconnected the phone and he left. How are you going to handle this situation, Brijesh?
Okay. That's a very good one. Yeah, of course. Okay, let me just clarify what Nagesh said about me. I do not like the term manual testing. To be very honest, I do not like the term automation testing as well. Okay, because there are no such things. It's just testing. Okay, yeah, you use tools in one case, you do not use tools in the other case. So it's only that much. But yeah, we've been sucked into an industry where people have been talking about doing things manually and doing things, as automation and things like that. So we are kind of using those terms on and off. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I don't use either of them in my daily conversations. So if I am faced up with a test, in a situation like that, I would try to understand as to why that person is getting irritated about when asked questions. And when you say, Nagesh, you're asking questions about manual testing, I presume that you were basically asking questions about test design techniques or maybe a strategy, maybe your
test design technique.
So those questions, instead of referring to them as manual testing questions, I personally refer to them as something called as test craftsmanship, where you are actually showing your knowledge in the craft of testing. Okay. Now, to be able to automate certain cases to your advantage is a different game altogether. Okay, it is a totally different thing. For me, as a tester, the basic thing that you need is to understand the craft in itself. Okay, do you understand very well enough as to what you are looking for when you are trying to test something? And when I say test, you are actually not just looking for bugs, but you're looking for meaningful information about it. Okay, looking for bugs with regards to what? I mean, if you say something is a bug, why do you say that? Because it is not mentioned in the requirements document, maybe, or it is not there in the user story. So anything anomalous you see, you classify that as a bug or a defect and say, okay, so this is not working as described in the requirements. But then there are situations where you are trying to, make your way through the application, and then you discover that, oh, if I am a different user, for example, if I have admin access, then I see a totally different layout vis-a-vis if I am say, for example, a sales manager using the same application, I see a different interface. And for me, the buttons are placed in a different corner. So for me, as a tester, it will be interesting to note that, okay, when my user persona is different, how does the application respond? How does the application respond in particular situations where the environment is different? Okay, so that is, you're finding out information about the product. And if you think that that is something weird or something which is not right, you take that information across and walk up to the product owner or the business analyst or whoever is responsible for that product and share that information with them and ask them as to, okay, what are you going to do about it? Is there something that needs to be done about it or not? Do you think it is the way it should be, or do you think it needs to change? Okay, so that is something that tester should look to do. And if I am, by the means of my questioning, if I'm trying to find that quality of in a particular tester, and if that person gets angry and tries to disconnect the call, well, God bless that person. That's all I'm going to say. Because when I am looking to hire somebody with, even if it is for test automation, I would want to understand if that person has got basic testing skills or knowledge or not. Okay, that is very important, and I have argued this at length with a lot of people on LinkedIn when I've said that, okay, the modern day job description just says, okay, I need a automation tester, Selenium with Java, 8 years experience. That's it. It doesn't go down to the level of asking for testing skills, and a lot of people believe that that is okay. And I do not believe that that is okay. If you say that if you need somebody to just automate test cases, you better hire a developer. That is my personal feeling. Okay, if you are saying that it is a testing profile, it is a testing job, then you need somebody who can test. You need somebody who has that acumen, that ability to understand and to be able to test. Otherwise, there's absolutely no point. I mean, I had a situation like this a couple of years ago when there was a project which was started, and I was working with a team in Bangalore, and the customer said, okay, we want to create a generic test automation framework, and it should support our applications in Android and on Linux, because Android and Linux are the two platforms which are supported by cars, and all the car software is generally on these kind of base platforms, and that is why we need a generic test automation framework to be built. I said, okay. And then, the people who were hired for that project was basically a set of testers, okay, who could automate. Instead, what I was looking for was a set of developers who could also test, which would have given me a better result. And testers who could automate cannot do it as well as developers who can automate or who can also test. It should have been treated as a development project. Instead, it was treated as a testing project. And what transpired after that was a disaster. Okay, the project went haywire. People had no clue, because you needed a developer's attitude to build that framework. It was absolutely from scratch. There were no manual test cases, so to speak, that were available that could be automated. There's nothing like that was available. So from scratch, you had to build something. You had to, so you could not expect testers to get in and do that job, because when the testers got in, they started asking basic questions. And when they started asking basic questions, the customers, they started getting offended. Why are they asking like this? They are testers. They are bound to ask questions. It's as simple as that. And if you have a project which is dedicated to build something which is written in Java and is able to communicate with APM and with Selenium, well, get developers to do that job. So Nagesh, to answer your question, I think I get carried away when I try to speak about it. But then, the point is very simple. If that person was not inclined to answer your questions on testing, okay, or basic test craftsmanship questions, well, like I said, God bless him. I mean, as a tester, you should have that acumen to be open. Okay, I understand where this comes from. Okay, there is a perceived, and I'm using this word very carefully, there is a perceived superiority complex prevailing in a lot of geographies across the world, that automation testers are better than so-called manual testers. Okay, which is not the case, which is not true. Okay. Reason why people believe that, especially in geographies such as India, China, Southeast Asia, is because testers with automation skills are paid higher than testers who do not have automation skills. So which gives a perception that, okay, these guys are doing a tougher job and that's why they need to be paid more, which is actually not true. Okay, so of course, I am trying to voice against it vociferously. Some people have heard me, some people get that, okay, we need to remove that bias towards automation and treat all testers on a equal platform. I've been trying to talk about it. Some of the industry leaders have agreed. They are trying to change the definitions, at least in their organizations. So you will see more and more companies starting to adopt sort of a terminology where they remove titles pertaining to automation specialist, or if you are a tester, you should be classified as a tester. It's as simple as that. It doesn't matter if you are able to use code or not. Okay. I mean, for me, everybody has got a unique set of skills, and that is what makes you different. So, you asked a very touchy question, Nagesh. You always do that with people?
No, because
Nagesh, can I take a minute?
Sure, definitely.
Yeah, so I totally agree with the Brijesh, because one of my previous organization, I do had a so-called automation testers, junior automation testers, who got offended when we asked them to just do the one functional test case, just for the sake that they can understand what they want to automate, and if there are any additional things they can just put into it. So one of my junior actually asked me, "Can I have a minute with you?" I said, "Okay," and she told me, "I'm an automation tester. So why you are asking me to do a manual testing? This is not my job. I'm not. Nobody hired me for this." So it was like they do have an understanding like manual tester is nobody, and automation tester is like they knows everything. So then you can just ask them to automate something so they can write a script, but they don't need any functional
Your voice
knowledge,
is
and
breaking.
that's okay with them. Is it still breaking?
No,
I can
it's
hear
good,
fine.
Savita.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
Now.
so I do had that experience. So I totally agree with you what that scenario. I actually visualize that all scenario when you're talking. So yeah, we have to change that mindset.
Savita, the problem begins with the way people understand testing. And I'm making this statement very bold, very openly, and I say this on the social platforms as well, that a lot of senior management, they do not understand testing. Okay, a lot of senior management, okay, they do not understand what testing is, and that is where the problem begins. Okay, now let's look at it where the problem started. The problem started when somebody came up with the idea of a tool called Load Runner, long time ago. Okay, so Load Runner was one of the first, so to speak, automation tools to come into the market. Okay, and it was Mercury during those days. So Mercury, a company called Mercury, launched a tool called Load Runner, which you could use to automate some of your test cases. And so people thought it was very cool. And those days, VBScript was a very popular way of doing scripting. And then Load Runner became QTP, and then QTP became UFT, and that is how it progressed. And the Mercury was taken over by HP, and then HP was taken over by Micro Focus. So that's how things have progressed. When Mercury came up with that, some wise people, they got together and they said, we need a tool to counter that particular tool, because that particular tool, people are selling it at a high price. We need something for free. And I don't know if you know, mercury causes poisoning in human beings. So if you consume mercury, you will die because it acts as a poison. So the only solution or only cure of mercury poisoning is taking another element from the periodic table, and that element is called selenium. Selenium is the answer of mercury poisoning, and that is why they named that tool, that open source tool, as Selenium. That is why it came into the market. So when this war started, when these people started talking about automating stuff and being able to do things faster, so they had to bucket a group of testers who were not inclined to use these tools, and they said, okay, these are manual testers, and people who use these because they do things automatically, these are automation testers. That's how the classification began. So it began with the tool vendors, and it spread across the industry, and people started buying into that argument, and it did not take them much time. It was like span of 10 years is enough to pass on a message and for people to believe in that and then follow that. And somehow the opinion across the industry is that automation can get you a lot of benefits and is faster, is better. I denounce that sort of a mindset. Yeah, it is definitely faster. It will definitely make you more efficient. It will make you more productive. But then to say that it is better than something else, well, I do not buy that argument at all. Another thing that I wanted to share here is that when people are talking about automation is not just about tools that you see in the market. Okay, it's not just about being able to automate certain set of what they call as manual test cases or something like that. That's a very limited view of automation if people think like that. Okay, automation, in fact, before the tools came into existence, a lot of people were still automating. They never called it as automated testing, but people were writing small shell scripts, small batch scripts to do things faster. For example, if somebody had to reboot a PC which was remote, okay, so that you don't have to walk up from your desk to the lab and then reboot that PC, they would write a shell script, and the shell script would reboot the PC and would send you a signal that the PC is up again. Okay, that is automation, right? That makes your life easy. That makes your things faster. Or if you have a utility that you have written a piece of code that helps you manage or generate generate data. Okay, say set of random numbers or whatever. That is automation. That makes your life easy. You're not looking or you're not scampering for data. So anything that helps you doing such things is automation. Okay, so to create a hoopla around it and say that, okay, no, automation is great, it is divine, it is God's blessing. Well, yes, of course, it helps you a lot, but to treat it as superior to something which is not, I don't kind of agree. So yeah, those of you who are learning automation tools and trying to get better in automation, I do not. In fact, I encourage you to do more and more of that, but always make sure that the goal should be to increase your productivity. Goal should be to make you more efficient. Goal should be to make you a better tester. Because automation is a service towards testing. It is not a replacement for testing. That's my message.
Hi, Brijesh. Ravi here. I have a couple of questions. Can I ask?
Sure, please go ahead.
Yeah. So where do you see the role of tester in future while the trend or organizations are transforming to full stack engineering concepts, extreme programming, continuous integration, and all modern ways of working, that is mob programming, pair programming, and stuff like that, and also bringing in the behavior driven development and thinly sliced requirements in the form of user stories. All these are modern ways of working. These are changing the ways that we worked in the past, where the expectation is a person to do everything right from the requirements until the deployment. So this is the expectation, or at least in theory, going on. How do you see this transformation? How practically this can impact tester, and what is your perspective? This is question number one. Okay. Question number two, with behavior driven development or user story ways of working or engagement of the development team early in the life cycle, does it remove test cases in the flow?
Okay.
Is a test case writing, is it a duplicate?
Reverse order. Can I answer the second question first and the first question second?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So let me give you my own example. So I started working in the year 2000. The year Y2K was one of the biggest problems that we saw, and that was when I just joined the industry. And during those days, there was this popular thing that was coming up called Agile. It was just heating up. Okay, and Scrum was evolving, and in 2005 is when I encountered Agile Scrum for the first time, and I heard about it. and people started talking about concept of a development team, and nobody was talking about tester. And as far as we were concerned, we were from that ISTQB school of thought, which preached independent verification and validation. So I was like, nah, this is not going to work. This is not for testers. You need testers anyways. And it was very hard for me to believe that something like that could actually work. So, with Scrum and things like that, if you say that test cases are getting lost, well, yeah, I also had that feeling. I also realized that, okay, we may be losing some of it. But then the point was that, I got introduced, or I pushed myself to learn more about Agile. And today I am more of an Agile advocate than anything else. I prescribe Agile for everything, right from recruitment to finance to software to every marketing, every concept. I say, okay, you can use Agile and you can see your ways through it. So testing doesn't go anywhere. Test cases don't go anywhere. They don't disappear. They always exist. It's the way you put them across. You do not have to be very, you do not have to write line by line saying, okay, do this, do that. No, you give a general scenario and let people try and think their own way of getting into that scenario and trying to explore that opportunity as to how you go about doing that. Okay, so when you say, for example, a test plan, okay, you do not have to write that IEEE 829 or even the new format, which is the IEEE 29119 part 3, which is a newer version of the IEEE 829 test plan. Nobody reads those documents, to be very honest. You need something more simple, something more direct. And what you can have instead of that is a test plan document written in a mind map. Okay, just answer six basic questions, the 5 W's and 1 H, and that gives you your test plan. And that is all you need. And you can have that mind map, printed out and put on everybody's soft boards on the computer, or you can have it as a background wallpaper on your system or whatever. I mean, that makes life very easy. Everybody knows what is going on in the project, why you are testing it, where are you testing, or when are you testing, and how are you going to test. So if you answer these 6 questions, you're cool. Okay, so testing doesn't go anywhere. Test cases don't go anywhere. Now coming to the second question that you asked, or rather the first question that you asked, Ravi. I had a very interesting discussion on this very subject last week, and in fact on Friday, I also did a webinar on Agile and DevOps in high-tech environments where testing is required, and we discussed a particular case. Now, companies such as Facebook, Twitter, they do not have QA roles specifically, okay, in their organizations. But does that mean that they are not doing any testing? No. It doesn't mean that. Okay, they have a continuous delivery pipeline in their place. They have a very strong CI/CD thing. In fact, Twitter makes a change or releases a build every 3 minutes. Okay, we don't even realize that. It is how quick they are. Okay, Facebook does a release does 6 releases during the day. We do not even realize that. We do not even see those changes coming in, but it keeps on happening from time to time. But does that mean that testing is not getting done? No, it is getting done. When I talk about testing being, they try to automate a lot of stuff, but there is a lot of stuff which still needs to come to them as feedback. And how do they get that? They have different models in place for that. For example, if I take Facebook's example, Facebook, they decided to do away with their QA roles long time back. But they realized at the same time that they need feedback. Okay. Now they were not building a high quality app, and they knew this right from the time they launched their application. And even now, they know very well that Facebook doesn't have to be an absolutely high quality app, because people are concerned more about the content, and they might ignore small bugs here and there. So they know about it. So the product quality is not of utmost importance to them. What is important is that they want to get the content out to the people as quickly as possible. So keeping that strategy in mind, what Facebook does is, when they build a certain component, they push it down to all their employees, okay, which is the first level of beta test that they do. and all their employees then use that feature and give feedback. That is fixed, and then that is deployed into 2% of the production environment. Specific user base. Specific user base, why? Because that necessary feature was requested by a certain user base and they get it. And once they give their feedback, only then it is deployed in 100% into production. So that is how they do it. They do it in stages. So your testing doesn't go anywhere. Yes, it helps in people getting skilled at multiple levels. But yeah, if you are saying from the context of, let me use that word, from a manual testing perspective, well, your skills are your skills, right? You can use it in a very constructive way, but it will help you if you are able to get a little more into technology, if you are able to provide feedback in a constructive manner, and for that, if you need to learn coding or something like that, well, of course you should. So that is my response. Hope I have answered your questions, Ravi.
Yes, Brijesh. Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else has a thought or a question to share?
Hi, Brijesh, Ketan here.
Yeah, Ketan.
Yeah. Brijesh, it was a very good line that you said. Automation is a service to testing.
Yes.
Not a replacement. Very good one. I was also listening to the, in the previous session, your discussion between you and Nagesh. Can you quote some examples what cannot be automated? It would be a good thing for others to know as well, as we are talking about 100% testing.
What cannot be automated? Why don't you start by sharing something? What do you think cannot be automated?
Something related to hardware interaction.
You can. You can automate. You can, because I work in the high-tech environment. I work with IoT applications. We deal with such interactions every day. So, okay, since we have limited time, let me take a stab at your question. What cannot be automated is human interaction, is human responses to a particular situation. Okay, how will a person respond to a particular situation is known only to that person, right? And it differs from person to person. So user behavior is the most difficult thing to automate. You may automate it by using algorithms such as machine learning and things like that, but only an extent of it where you can see learnable behavior. But there are certain things which are instinctive to people. Okay, for example, if you buy a TV, what do? You normally don't go through the user manual and then start operating it. You just connect, and hope that it works. And then you use your remote to navigate your way through, and then you keep learning during the process. And even if you encounter some bugs, you will then call the help desk and say, okay, you know what, my TV is giving me this trouble, please help me with this. Right? So these kind of things you cannot automate. You cannot automate human behavior. You cannot automate human interaction. Okay. Some people might challenge and say, oh, AI and ML can do that, but only to a certain extent where learnability is possible. Wherever learnability is not possible, where the behavior is instinctive, you cannot automate. Okay, and a lot of times, that is the case.
I think instead.
Yeah, Shashikant.
I think instead the question should be what should be automated instead of what cannot be automated. That should be your strategy. What to automate, because no one will want to just spend some time to automate something which is probably will be tested only once or twice, right?
What should be automated is what is repeated again and again. What is what you need to test or what you need to see working all the time. Is that something that
yes. That is what my so that is my way of seeing, like, your strategy should be what should be automated rather than what cannot be tested.
I think the context of Ravi's question, the question from Ketan was that, if you are trying to explain it to senior management, then what do you say?
Right.
Okay,
If you're
guys, sorry to
Senior
interrupt.
management or your client,
Sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
Less than
yeah.
1 minute on the call. Call will get disconnect. We will reconnect immediately. There is a question. There is a chat from Ravi, so we'll take that after the call break.
Okay, let's
Sorry
do that
guys.
then.
Sorry guys to interrupt. Let's connect after the break.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll disconnect manually. Please reconnect immediately with same link, same password. Thank you.